Director, Rosastays, Head India, Dusit International as the Moderator. Joining her on stage are Mr. Anupam Dutta, Chief Customer Acquisition Officer, Sterling Hotel Resorts, Mr. Atul Jain, Chief Operating Officer, India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, Best Western Hotels, Mr. Shridhar Nair, Senior Vice President and General Manager, the Leela Ambience, Gurugram, Mr. Suhail Kannampilly, Managing Director, Concept Hospitality, and Mr. Vibhas Prasad, Director, Leisure Hotels Group. Please join me in giving them a warm welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm superbly excited with the panel I have. And it is interesting to hear from everyone how actually we can chase the leisure customers, right? So I'm going to start with a very straightforward question, and this is for everyone. What do you think are the leisure travelers actually seeking today? Are they seeking experiences, relaxation, or just the Instagrammable moments? Vibhas?
Hi, good afternoon. I guess not a good option to do this just after lunch. But so, we've coincidentally, our company is called Leisure Hotels. I think back in the day, the registrar of companies had not given out this name. So the family decided to name this. So we've actually been chasing the leisure traveler for 36 years, largely in the north, in Uttarakhand and Himachal. And we have been building a business on the back of the domestic traveler, way before domestic travel was considered sexy. So relaxation, of course, but today's time, that's not the only reason why these guys come. I think the purpose is immersive experiences that are curated by hoteliers like us. They do want those Instagrammable moments to capture, to showcase to their friends and family. And if we can enhance that trip with a little bit of relaxation, rest, and these experiences with personalization, I think that's the whole package. So personalization here is key in my mind, and that connect with the traveler.
Yeah, I mean, because you probably are in most leisure destinations, so I think your experience there. What about you, Suhail? What do you think? What is your customer seeking?
So, leisure travelers per se, it's important that we look at kind of creating buckets for them because every leisure traveler has a different mindset. And in India, we're actually catering to a lot of different types of leisure travelers. India has a lot of group movement for leisure, okay, because people like to go holiday with friends, family, as large groups. So what a large group would seek would be very different from what a couple would seek as a leisure movement. So it's very important that you have to create different cohorts for different segments of leisure travel. Yeah. And I think that's where then hotels need to step up and literally do all of the four that you listed. Right from Instagrammable moments, you have to have options of relaxation, you have to have engagement options, you've got to have options for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
it's about building that.
Atul, what is your experience at Best Western?
I think at the Best Western worldwide are locations with 4,300 hotels, and we provided business hotels as well as the hotels at leisure destinations. So for us, is about all about choices. I think today's traveler has a lot of choices what they exactly want to do. Be it somebody wants to do the adventure, and someone wants to be ease out and at a cozy place. And some are looking for an stunning location for their, Instagrammable locations to take some pictures for them. So it's basically the choices is depending upon you, what you opt for. And especially in India, we have many hotels provide such locations, comfort, and also that whatever you want to do at Best Western properties. So we have many options, hotels for such purpose.
So, Shridhar, I'll just twist this a bit and ask you, what's your hotel's secret sauce when it comes to standing out in a crowded leisure market?
I think customized experiences. I mean, all the panelists have answered about what is it that the leisure traveler is seeking. So we are a unique portfolio of 13 hotels focused only in the luxury segment. So in our business, there is obviously very little margin for error. Immersive experience is something which everybody is seeking. And more importantly, I think at the end of the day, every traveler wants value for money. How can you offer the best experience make it the most memorable possible, and at the most competitive price. So even at our level, I think one of the big challenges we face is that you may run an average room rate of 80,000, but how do you make that guest return and want more for that experience? So that really is going to be, the focus for us.
Anupam, anything different you are doing?
It's a secret sauce question, or
Yes,
where is it?
pick yours. Pick your
So
choice.
I'll go on both. The first piece, the question that you asked has easy answers, but difficult to fathom. At Sterling, we tend to, we are less deterministic, more eager and inquisitive. I'll tell you why. You want to answer to that question, you slice and dice your data. You take different cohorts, horizontally and vertically, you'll have your answers. But the difficulty arises when you have the same consumer cohort behaving differently at different points in time. Your Gen Z, this is our experience, and we track, I have my marketing head out here who tracks it very diligently and with a lot of curiosity. You have the Gen Z traveler going to Rishikesh for adventure activities. 3 months down the line, he goes to Coorg, just wants to lift his leg up and chill. Same guy. So what there is a little bit of occasions of use involved, a little bit of psychographics involved, and we treat this a little more inquisitively than being deterministic, because I think it's rapidly evolving, and we'd like to believe that we'd rather be focusing on those minutiae that will help us decide as to how to attract the customer. So it's a rapidly evolving goalpost. We're cautious, and it's important to keep those experiences going, but keep them improving and innovating as well. Our secret sauce is what we call as D&E, discoveries and experiences. Sounds very cliched, I guess, but we like going into the mountains of Ooty and working with the tribals and collecting honey, if that's what you meant by.
And that's a great experience.
That's and we like giving you, jackfruit biryani, if you like. So the minutiae count for us, not the overarching theme of discoveries and experiences. We like going right into the trenches to figure out what is it that you like. I like one of our panelists mentioned immersive experiences. I think that's a great term to use. We love it. We try to create more and more such experiences which are immersive in nature, so that you can carry a part of that place with you when you go back.
To your home.
That answers the question, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you touched upon a very important point, which is Gen Z. And that was exactly my new question. And I'll come to you, the youngest of the lot, probably Suhail. How do you win over Gen Z leisure travelers without losing the interest of the boomers?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly whether I'd really classify as the youngest, but...
Well, I guess so. I mean, that's a compliment.
Yeah, it's a compliment. It's definitely a compliment. Happy to take it. Two Gen Z kids would definitely look at putting me in the boomer category, but yeah. So they think of life very differently. Yeah. And it's not always easy to cater to them. Yeah. So there's a different segment of Gen Z also traveling into this. One is the aspirational segment that is traveling into our hotels, which is still Gen Z, but haven't really been exposed. So India's got that as well, and we've then got the segment of Gen Z that are completely exposed, have traveled the world already, and know what they're looking for. So you've got to take both. Just coming back into even your previous question in terms of the segments of the leisure, I think what binds all our customers together for leisure is food and beverage. And same with Gen Z. I think while Manav came out in his first presentation saying food and beverage in hotels is dead, I completely disagree when it comes to leisure. I think in leisure, your food and beverage options need to stand out, because
especially when it comes to destination
it becomes a lot of
resort,
captive food and beverage. So if you don't give them a good experience with your food and beverage, the chance of them ever coming back gets reduced drastically. And that is especially true with Gen Z, because they've tasted cuisines from everywhere. So you've got to really be able to be on the ball in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, with leisure hotels, I think food is really, really important aspect. I'm not sure whether with Gen Z it's the food or the alcohol, which probably Vibhas can tell more. What sells more in your hotel for Gen Z, whether it's the alcohol or the food?
So in Deepika, in most of the locations where we are, people are coming for a leisure experience, but there's a subset to it. We offer spiritual and pilgrimage, which probably the fathers come for, grandparents come for. There are wildlife experiences, there's wellness, there's a whole quotient. So I don't know if we are directly influencing the Gen Z mindset to attract them to our resorts, but the locations, the views, the climate, the accessibility, I think those culminate together to form a decision for a weekend out, uh, long weekends. And we've seen that some of these people are coming back again to those same destinations time and time again because they like a Ganga view. So they want to come back for the same Ganga view, or they like a particular lakeside resort of ours. And you probably know we have some hotels with IHCL where, because of huge repeat client base, they want very specific rooms with views and they only buy that suite. So, but in my case, I think indirectly they influence their parents, but the decisions are usually taken by somebody elder in the family.
So, I mean, Shridhar, I would like to hear your thoughts on Gen Z because you're a luxury Leela hotel, how much of that percentage Gen Z really gets attracted by that luxury because it comes at a very high cost as well, right? Or do you want to chase Gen Z if they're not attracted to you right now?
No, absolutely. And look, we are evolving as a society. We're becoming increasingly aspirational. I mean, if you look at our portfolio, there are 4 resorts and there are 9 business hotels. There used to be a time when in the business hotels, it used to be about 95% corporate and 5% leisure. But even that ratio is changing now. In the weekends, our corporate hotels are attracting about 70% Gen Zs for staycations. So, which is obviously an interesting trend. I mean, I gave you the figure. I mean, it's a broad figure, but I think Gen Z is a very important segment that we are also focusing on. And immersive experiences, the one that we spoke about, I think that is really something which sort of connects very well with the Gen Z. What also helps is the fact that we have a lot of associates now who are Gen Z, and we are obviously using them to our advantage in terms of understanding and deciphering what exactly does the Gen Z want and what is the the best kind of pitch that we can have for them. But to come back to your question in terms of are we focused on Gen Z? Absolutely yes.
It's fantastic to hear. My next question with you, Anupam. Do you think leisure, which is business plus leisure, travel a true industry game changer or just another buzzword?
These days, pleasure sounds like an oxymoron. This debate around 70-hour work weeks and 100-hour work week. Uh, uh, Again, in the true spirit of being a Sterlinger, we are inquisitive. We believe that as you move forward, this fad will not turn into a trend. Therefore, it's going to be quality of time than quantity of time. We believe that, as and when a busy man gets his holiday, it's important to make his time worth it. And that family, when it comes for a holiday, is going to be a Gen Z, and the father is going to be a baby boomer, and you never know what. But important to figure out and get hyper-personalized so that, it's time worth spent than calling it pleasure or whatever. The difficulty with these terminologies is that you tend to box your phenomenon. You create definitions around it and it kind of becomes self-fulfilling. As marketeers and as businessmen, it's important to try and unbox these things and be inquisitive and continue to see how it goes. I wouldn't say it's out of, I won't say the fad is not in as yet. I doubt it'll be a trend. I doubt will be a trend. So creating products, creating things around it is ahead of time. Ahead of time. It's going to be a very difficult world to live in, especially for working folks. You look at technology, you look at, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. So yeah, so that's my answer to your question.
Do you concur?
I think I concur, and also we see this as an opportunity. When we say this is an opportunity, trends are going to stay or not. Let's wait and watch. I think it's important, but with the people options working from home, I think it's an opportunity for them to work and go out and stay in hotels and also work from there. So at Best Western, we have many properties which offer such options, and there are spaces which we can offer just more than the rooms. We have public areas for them to sit out, have their meetings, have their VCs and all that, and while they're enjoying their coffee and the, of course, pint of beer and all that. So I think it's an opportunity. Let's see how long is this trend is going to sustain.
Deepika, I just like to mention something about Gen Z. That's a topic that requires a little bit of just 2 minutes of your time, but it's important, and I'll tell you what we think about it. You step back a little bit and look at a Gen Z, you look at the psychographics. What are the keywords that come to your mind? Authenticity, sustainability, you get what you see, which is part of authenticity, and also differentiated experiences, okay? So we tend to look at a Gen Z from these particular aspects, and whatever we are building around it is taking these things into account. For example, in Sterling, we have campsites, a brand called Nature Trails. You don't get room service. You come there, you have your bath, go to the dining area and have home-style Maharashtrian breakfast, head out, go trekking and come back in the evening and so on and so forth. So, we're trying to get there in terms of designing different, depending upon the psychometric of the consumer rather than the behavioral aspects. You're getting what I'm saying? Because if you can focus on psychometrics, it gives you greater insights into what Gen Zs want these days. Yeah, that's my.
I mean, then I'll add just another question which is related, which is basically AI. With AI and automation transforming travel planning, how do you think the hotels can stay ahead and remain the top of the choice? So with all these customization when you do it for Gen Z experiences, you think AI is equally important so that you can be, stay ahead?
So I heard Bhanu talk this morning. Yeah. So here's my take on AI. See, AI cannot beat another AI, which is artificial intelligence cannot beat applied intelligence, which is wisdom. So we use AI as an enabler. All the telltale signs, we don't take them literally. What works very well for us is 38 years of history. We try and dig into our experiences, basis all the telltale signs, and try and map and say, is this intuitive or counterintuitive? And then we move forward. So from a Gen Z perspective, experiences have worked very well for us. Focusing on sustainability, or at least talking about it and telling them what steps we are taking, has worked for us. Giving them an understanding as to how is the ecosystem around that particular person in that particular place works for us. Talking about history and culture works for us. F&B will keep happening. That's not a problem. But these things are very important for them. Instagrammability is two-shaped, but that's not what defines them. I can guarantee you this. I understand. I have a very upmarket Gen Z at home. I don't think AI defines their life. What defines their life is authenticity, and they're a very confused lot. And if you can help them define who they are with the small experience that they have with us, I think as a brand you're meeting that requirement.
So probably on the experiences side, maybe AI could still be a challenge. What is your thought, Shridhar, on using AI when it comes to customer acquisition in today's such a competitive space? You want to chase that customer who can pay you that ADR, which you really want, so that you can offer the experiences. So you think AI is something which Leela is really using or not?
Absolutely. So look, Deepika, like Bhanu mentioned in the morning, a lot of hotel companies are obviously waiting and watching in terms of how AI really gets sort of applied into our business. Being a luxury hotel brand, we are very clear that we would like to be as close to the consumer as possible, as close to our guest as possible. In my mind, application of AI should really be to solve a problem for a guest, to make his experience more unique, to be able to reach out to him more quickly and make sure the communication with him is seamless, and not necessarily use the artificial intelligence bit to reduce cost. So there are two ways, obviously, looking at it. So we are obviously looking at it from a perspective, how can I make his stay memorable? And we are working on various models to see how is it that we can remain in touch. Chatbots is obviously something that has already been implemented in a few of our hotels. We are also going through pilot projects in terms of seeing how AI can be applied for customer acquisition. So those are all initiatives which I think would probably mature in about 6 to 8 months from now. But a lot of it, like I said, we have to stay true to the essence, which is we would like to be closest to the guest in terms of delivering our legendary service.
What about you, Vibhas? Do you still have a lot of your consumers or customers coming through travel agents, or now you've transitioned to some AI tool to help you get that?
So unlike a lot of hoteliers, we still patronize the offline travel agents quite a bit across the country, in fact. And we have a healthy mix of OTAs, and then there's the direct business, which we channelize directly through our own brands, websites, and so on. So AI is going to enhance some of these revenue management tools. So we use a small startup already, 5 years ago actually, which is using AI to enhance RMS capabilities, which is actually going beyond forecasting and actually even publishing using algorithms. Now, for a small company like us, we can't afford these products normally which are available in the world. So in some ways, we are using AI to enhance our productivity, our efficiency, revenue management, but we are old style hospitality company. We want the human connection, we want the human touch. I don't think anytime soon we'll be looking to replace that. We still would like our guests not to use Wi-Fi in our resorts where they are, because it's a great time for a digital detox. And if I may, I just want to plug in something on Gen Z as well. We actually launched a brand during COVID called Beds, which is present in 6 cities from Manali, Rishikesh, Goa, Varanasi. And we've seen Gen Z mindset to come into these spiritual destinations as well, because they're looking for life experiences. And this particular brand we call Sociotel. It's a category we've tried to create for ourselves, where it's about meeting other people at these hotels. And in some of these resorts and destinations, there's no alcohol, but still they'll come out, there'll be an open mic night, they'll lounge at a centralized place. So people are open to meeting new people, and we see solo travelers and intergenerational families.
Interesting. So my question is now, Suhail, are your hotels doing enough to cater to solo travelers, solo leisure travelers? Because you very passionately mentioned about the group and how you customize the experiences for. But is there anything you're doing specially to cater to solo travelers, or do you think there is such a small percentage that the focus is more on the group?
So India as a market is primarily driven to group travel, and you will find a very low component of domestic solo travelers. That's not really in the category that will come into mid-scale, upscale. They're more the economy segment travelers. I think once the inbound traffic to India increases and India as a destination becomes an attractive destination for the level above the backpackers, that's when you're going to start seeing movement of solo travelers into mid-scale, upscale hotels. As of now, that market is too small to really focus on.
What about you, Atul?
I agree, because market for a solo traveler for a leisure destination is very, very small, and you can't have a segment as of now. But I agree that as the inbound travel is going to increase and we have many options, and India is a whole lot of canvas where people can go and enjoy and see what they want to see, I think that trend is going to increase in the future. But as of now, it's a very, very small percentage.
Because you do see a lot of these backpacker accommodations which have popped up, especially in leisure destinations like Haridwar, Rishikesh, all the spiritual ones, and all that stuff. So, I see a lot of, it's just catching up. Sooner we know it'll just be there as a big trend. So I have personally experienced this trend of solo travelers. Anupam, what do you think? Do you agree with them, or you have a different point, or you want to just share your thoughts on that?
It's a different side of the prism, really. So the point is that there are markets and there are markets. And there is this famous book by Al Ries and Jack Trott called 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. It says you can't be everything to everybody. So you got to choose your battle, you got to choose your niche and deliver big time on those niches. As far as Sterling is concerned, we are considering solo travelers. We have some incubations in the form of nature trails where backpackers can come and stay in the campsite. Should we see this category exploding? I think we'll ride the wave as and when it crops up. Again, you never know, this category could explode. And therefore, we are at the cusp of watching this explode and see what we can do about it. But yeah, we're not underestimating that market potential at all, right? So it would mean customization, it could mean hyper-localizing their experiences and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's an important category for us, but as of now, we're just watching this space and see what we can do. We are incubating in some places to understand consumer behavior. And then the consumer behavior has to translate into products. You can't aspire to be there and yet not give the product that is required and true to its essence, okay? So that's what we are doing at this point in time. Our marketing team does a lot of research and work to understand what are we getting into, how long does it take to break even, what kind of ARs can you do, what kind of, all those things are very, very critical. And once you get in, you actually get in, go the whole hog. That's what this is about.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note, I think you can add to this, that in the last 5 years, the profile of the leisure traveler has really evolved. How have you seen that evolution,
Okay, so we did our own closed group, study within our company. We figured that 40% of our current base are adventure seekers, the Gen Z digital natives. 19% are sort of millennials. Another, I think 20-25 odd percentage are the YOLO community, which says you only live once, let's go for it. And then you have about 6 to 7% are sort of people or relationship people. They tend to try and go to the same hotel where they have relationships, okay? Now, much as you might want to ask yourself, psychographically speaking, are they changing? I bet my bottom dollar, 5 years back too, psychographically speaking, these existed. The question is, how does the proportion shift over the last 5 years? The proportion has shifted given the change in lifestyle, microeconomic factors. Therefore, your demographic profiling has changed. And therefore, what you have today is possibly a mirror image of what we've had 5 years back in a different avatar altogether because of the change in psychographics. But these always existed. The proportions are changing as we go forward. And the mix is changing in terms of likability, dislikes, value systems, and so on and so forth. So I believe what we are seeing today, 5 years down the line, occasions of use may change, the proportions may change, but it's more or less an avatar that's going to emerge from the current avatars. That's where I see this going.
Shridhar, what's your experience at Leela? Have you seen the evolution over this last 5 years of the leisure customers? Or and not just the evolution in terms of experience, but also acquisition. How has that changed? Is there a way that you've changed or re-strategized your sales and marketing to acquire with the evolution or the change in the leisure customer?
Look, I mean, as far as the hospitality sort of landscape is concerned, there is a pre-COVID and there is a post-COVID, and which is obviously very relevant to the leisure traveler. Like I explained a while earlier, we have seen an uptick of almost about 60 to 70% in terms of leisure guests at our business hotels for staycations. 15 years back, Indians would probably take 2 vacations in a year, and today that's increasing to about 4 or 5. We're becoming more aspirational. We're traveling abroad like never before, and we're obviously coming back with a lot of feedback. We're coming back with a lot of expectations in terms of how the international hospitality is evolving. All-inclusive resorts is one example. People would come back. We've got a few sort of queries in terms of why are we not launching all-inclusive resorts. So I think for us, we are focusing on every 30% of our guests who come and stay with us are repeat guests. So we have a strong connection with our guests. We are in the business of customizing experiences. To come back to your question in terms of how are we strategizing for the leisure traveler? I think for us it really boils down to customizing experiences. And so we have a big team at our resorts and at our city hotels now, working full time on coming up with these kind of immersive experiences. To give you an example, we have one of our business hotels has acquired a farm, which is a 5-acre organic farm in Gurugram, which has, and which is one of the first luxury hotels which will own a farm and commission a farm to fork restaurant. So the business traveler for the weekend has an opportunity to, go and experience this farm, and which is only about 25 minutes away from the hotel. So, I mean, this was one byproduct of the deliberations that we've had in terms of how do we, sort of move closer to our guest.
Thanks, Shridhar. Atul, do you see a role of wellness, which is it's another trend I see, a lot of customers, at least sometimes when they book or they are checking with us to stay with our hotels or our resorts, they want to check, do you have a spa or some sort of a wellness or a yoga program? I think you think that wellness has become a very key component when it comes to leisure travel, and this is probably one of the strongest evolution what you probably will see. We always had spa, but now it's been asked for, No, and spa is just a wrong connotation, just the whole wellness part, which is related to mind, body, and soul, so eating good food and all that stuff. Do you see that trend in your leisure hotels, or have you done any changes because you've seen that as a key ask from your leisure customer?
I think yes, because health is wealth, and health is important, and it is important that health spas and health hotels do very well. And our properties, we are customized the experience in terms of the offerings to the customer, in terms of whether their room stays, whether their food habits, what they want, and yoga and wellness treatments are very important for a person. So we offer that, and so the trend we are seeing is going to increase in the future. Because with the current pressure of the corporate millennials, which they are facing, working 17 hours a day or 12 hours a day, I think they, as Shridhar just mentioned, that that people are taking 5 or 7 holidays in a year now. So the trend is increasing. So they're not going to the typical leisure locations. They are looking at more than that, and I think that wellness is one of such options.
Suhail?
So I think there are distinctly two types of wellness situations. One is a genuine wellness resort, and one is a wellness resort that pretends to be wellness but does weddings. Okay, does the big Indian weddings. So in a genuine wellness resort, there's a high gestation period. You are relying on building that clientele over the course of years, and having them come back to you on a regular basis. But what we do primarily in our properties would be the second bucket, which is wellness, but doing weddings. So where you've got, a little few wellness engagements happening at the properties, morning walks, yoga sessions, small therapies in this, but you're not truly building in wellness.
Vibhas, what's your take on this one?
We are also in the same space as Suhail. We have resorts where people come in to relax, have fun. We are not truly offering a wellness retreat or a resort where there's medicinal procedures, people come for weight loss. We are on all types of different programs. And I don't think that's the space we know well. But most of our other customers are actually coming to have a good time or relax or connect with their own families. And in some cases, like Haridwar, even connect with themselves. After a cleansing dip in the holy Ganges, they feel reconnected to the ancestors. We do genealogy sessions. So it's a very life experience at some of these places. Very, very different from a lot of the other destinations in India or overseas.
Yeah, so interestingly, we actually launched our wellness brand, Dusit launched our wellness brand Devrana into India. It's globally the first Devrana which we signed. And this was absolute wellness resort catering to the wellness customer. And this was much thought when we got a lot of inquiries on what are we doing on the wellness front. Dusit, of course, relates to the wellness very, very closely. And we do have a dedicated team which is looking after from literally from, food to how to take care of your body and, mind. And there's mindfulness, which we have as a program as well. So do you think, Shridhar and Leela, there's something which you are doing in that aspect, or this is something what like our friends Suhail and Vibhas are doing as a second bucket of the list?
No, absolutely. And wellness remains a very important and key segment for us. And like I mentioned, we consistently keep on taking feedback from our guests in terms of what is it that they would like us to focus on in terms of experiences. One thing that really stood out was the focus on wellness. So about 5 years back, the Leela as a brand has launched a holistic wellness program called Ojasya, which really means vigor in Sanskrit. So that is now, we have a wellness consultant who has curated the entire experience across both food, beverage, as well as spa. So this has been rolled out at all our hotels, and it's a hugely popular one with our guests, because when someone is staying, say, at the Leela Palace, Udaipur, spending $1,000 a night, spa becomes an important element of his holiday. He may have gone for sightseeing in the morning, but when he is back in the evening, or he or she would love to have, a 90-minute or a 120-minute therapy. And there they would expect that you will have the best of offering and the best of therapy. So for us, to answer your question in terms of how important is spa as a segment, it is a very important segment. And this is something that we are focusing not just on our resorts. It is, the Ojasya program has been rolled out in all our corporate hotels as well. And we have Ojasya Spa Cafes now getting launched at our hotels. So to bring back the focus on holistic wellness and not just the spa and the therapy element of wellness.
Thanks. Anupam, Sterling has been there for years. Do you think the loyalty programs are still relevant with the leisure travelers, or they prefer spontaneous perks?
Okay. The loyalty program is kind of must have. It's hygiene today. I'm not very sure for every dollar that you spend whether you're still getting 5x. I'm not sure whether it's still 4% of your overall revenue as a cost construct or 6% of your overall revenue as cost construct. But then the least today that you can do is have a loyalty program, because conventionally human wisdom has it that you like collecting things. Okay, that's psychographic, right? You can't take that away. Now combine that with instant gratification is a formula that is important. But what you can't take away is this word called hospitability. You can be in hospitality, but if you're not hospitable, you're not going to get there. So the starting point is hospitability. What comes as an offshoot of that through accrual of points and discounts and immediate gratification is great. But we try and see if, for us, a loyalty program is an enabler, definitely not a driver. And therefore, we try to keep it real. And we don't have one at this point in time, but we are working on it from the perspective of it being a driver and a hygiene. Okay, but most of it is going to focus on keeping the experiences real.
Shridhar, I believe your experience with the loyalty program would be because you run a very powerful one yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have the Discovery loyalty program in association with the Global Hotel Alliance. We're a member of Global Hotel Alliance. And like I mentioned earlier, for us, loyalty is an important element of recognition. So the loyalty program is looked at, one, in terms of how it can be used to remain close to your guest, and more importantly, competitive when it comes to other competing brands. So we have made a lot of changes. It's a constantly evolving program. You can redeem and dollars now at the second stay itself. So we made it fungible. It is easy to gain points and redeem them as well across our hotels. But in terms of how we look at the loyalty program as a whole, this is something that we are, constantly working with GHA to see how is it that we can offer benefits which are unique, benefits which are global, and tie them up with experiences. And how can we make unique experiences as part of the loyalty program?
Interesting. Okay, I have some quirky questions now. So, since we are in last 15 minutes of the session, I mean, Vibhas is staring at me. Don't ask me that Tinder bio question.
You wanted to answer the loyalty one.
You wanted to answer loyalty? Go ahead.
I'm not going to speak for myself as a hotel company, but let me talk about my partnership with IHCL. So I think all of you must know that they have more than 10 million Tata new members, which happened very recently. And across their other verticals, I think the number is closer to 300 to 400 million Indians and global who connect with the Tata group in some manner. So they've really created or are in the process of creating a super app. And that's the power of loyalty when you can buy a ticket on Air India and use it at Trent or at IHCL hotels. And we see in some of our luxury IHCL hotels, almost 60% plus of business annualized is coming through IHCL networks. So the power of IHCL loyalty, we are seeing and benefiting from it. At our own level, we've tried and failed multiple times, so we're not going there.
Yes.
Sorry, just on that loyalty bit also, for leisure properties, the big factor of loyalty is redemption. It's not the earning, it's the redemption. So you need, if you're doing a loyalty program purely from a leisure perspective, it won't be successful because people are not earning to burn. So on a group portfolio level, if you can earn in a business hotel and redeem at a leisure hotel, that's when loyalty really works.
It's a big attraction
It's
for
a big
the
attraction.
leisure traveler. You know,
Yes, and for us in the best fashion, it's just not enrolling into the program. It's all about creating the experiences and acquiring that customer forever. I think for us, it's more than that. When we look at the loyalty program for worldwide, it's about 47 contribution is there for our loyalty program. And our loyalty program has some unique features like points never expires. So that's one of the features that is important, that points are never expiring. And you can transfer the points to any of your friends or your family members. And in India today that we are contribution is about 24% from our loyalty program. And also it's a tool to acquire the customer at a lower cost. So for a brand, it's a program through which you can acquire the customer at a much reasonable cost. And it makes sense for our business partners when they see value in the program.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I also believe that, a strong loyalty program does attract a leisure traveler. What's the most unexpected feedback you've ever received from a leisure guest, which you've never thought of a feedback? Anupam, you want to answer that? Maybe one of your Gen Z guests who must have given you a feedback on your Sterling property. Or maybe an email which you must have received.
There are many. There are many. And we...
Share the funny one.
I'm not sure whether it's funny, but it's definitely profound. So there was one guest who possibly was ziplining in one of our properties. He said, I had good fun. I'm wondering what the learning is. I was caught a little aback because these experiences come with experiential learning, okay? If you can't articulate it for them, they tend to ask you those questions saying, okay, if I'm doing rock climbing, what am I learning? If I'm doing zip lining, what am I... Not in the learning sense of the term, that's not the question. The question is, what am I getting out of it? Okay, it was pretty interesting for us. So then we put some experiential people out there in the resorts who can actually translate those experiences into what they could be learning from that. So that was one of the serious ones. But there are quite a few others as well.
What about you, Shridhar? Any unexpected?
Well, I remember there was a guest who was very insistent that he wanted to renovate the room. He was a long-stay guest with us. And he was willing to pay top dollars. And he said that, look, I'm going to bear the cost, but I want my designer to come in and renovate this room because I'm going to...
You sent that guest to me, I have.
So sadly, we had to regret.
What about you, Atul?
No, we have not recalled any experiences from a customer like this, but yes, there were complaints, but which we have handled. I don't recall something like that which has been bothering a lot. It's just a common, like internet is not working or something. Very, very common. That's all I could say.
Suhail?
So very recently actually got a guest email, very upset with the hotel because the hotel provided him turn down service where he had a mint kept in his room and the room was all done up, and he says, I never asked for anyone to come into the room. But he's not put on any D&D or this. So he was extremely upset over the fact that somebody entered in his room and serviced it. So that actually kind of outlines the kind of customers that we have to deal with in India. You've got the entire gamut. So you've got to be prepared for all situations.
Vibhas, what about you?
So there was a very heart-wrenching note, email, I don't remember exactly, during COVID, where our hotel representatives helped someone's last rites in Haridwar. And they could not make it, I believe, and they wrote a very nice, profound in their own way, but we went the extra distance because it was COVID.
If you could turn one space in your hotel into a crazy, over-the-top leisure attraction, what would it be, Vibhas?
So we're actually doing it. We've just created a new sister concern, which is in the craft spirit space. So we've opened a distillery, we've got 6 products out there, and this is not a product solicitation comment, but we are building an experience center.
Bottle, I don't mind.
We're building the experience center inside the resort. So you can sample the produce we are making at the distillery close by. There'll be a mixologist who will make your cocktails. You can make your own. And there is some gray areas on excise. So you can actually carry some back as well from that. So that's
Which
something.
property is that?
So we are doing this in a place in Nokuchatal, which is further beyond Nainital, and our distillery is in Kashipur. So it's going to be an experience center around craft spirits.
Fantastic. Congratulations. What about you? But that's not crazy. That's very normal.
Pure alcohol and take it back to...
What about you, Suhail? Anything crazy you want to do in your hotel?
So I think we kind of utilize almost every corner of the hotels. I think the tree tops are probably the last remaining space left in the hotels to utilize. So if we can do lovely tree houses there, would be a great experience setup.
Shridhar, if aliens landed tomorrow and wanted a leisure vacation on Earth, why should they stay at your hotel?
I better suggest they don't.
Okay, I'll send them to Atul's hotel. What do you think?
I think first of all, let them park their spacecraft at our hotels, and we do provide the free charging stations as well. That's what I said.
Okay, Anupam, you must have answer for this one.
Yeah, that's easy. I'll send them with the tribes to collect honey and get stung by bees.
That's brilliant.
And also get them to the banks of Kundalika River to enjoy a rock show or possibly something like that. I don't think they get that in their.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so question to you again. If your hotel were a movie character, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a nice question. So, you've seen a movie called The Recruiter? Al Pacino?
Yes.
So, Al Pacino, बहुत पुरानी है, but very relevant even today. So, the way to put it had a very interesting dialogue. He said, I have a great eye for talent. That's what Sterling is trying to do today. We're trying to develop a great eye for talent.
That's fantastic.
Talent, human. We've started to have a great eye for properties. So we're trying to be great spotters today, much like Al Pacino in The Recruiter.
That's interesting. Shridhar?
I think I'll, maybe A Few Good Men.
Few Good Men.
Tom Cruise. That's probably a character that I'd like to sort of see the hotel.
What about you, Atul?
I think it's not the character. Let me put this way: is the actor that we would like to be at the hotel. Is Ranveer Singh, because our brand called Aiden by Best Vision is more young, more vibe, and colorful, like his wardrobes. So I would say that that's the thing that we want to be attached with the Aiden by Best Vision with Ranveer Singh.
Interesting. Suhail, if your hotel had a Tinder bio, what would it say to attract leisure travelers?
So probably swipe right.
Actually, I wrote mine if you want to hear mine.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Okay. Not my Tinder bio, by the way. It says, swipe right for room service that pampers your taste buds, a rooftop view that's totally Instagrammable, and a cozy vibe that says, stay a little longer. Let's make every check-in in a love story. So that's the Rosastays Tinder bio. Now, I would love to hear yours.
So a swipe right for sustainability and warmth of Indian hospitality.
Beautiful. What about you, Vibhas? Swipe right for a craft bottle of blended.
So I think for this cheeky question, you need a cheeky answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Not to brag, but our guests say they've had the best nights of their lives at our hotel.
Oh, fantastic.
Swipe right to find out why.
Okay, so that's the last one of my quirky, and then one serious question, and then we should. What's your guilty pleasure amenity? Something the hotel offers that you personally love more than the guests do. Vibhas, one of your amenities.
Long, hot showers where I'm not concerned about running a water bill or waiting for somebody else to come in. So yeah, guilty pleasure for sure. And I don't think about sustainability at all at that point.
I was coming to that, Suhail. Sustainability prompt hoega.
Yeah, for me it's the pool.
It's the pool?
Yeah.
Okay, Atul?
I think it's the earbud. If we talk about the
Sorry?
it's the earbud.
Earbud.
Shridhar?
Something, an amenity you say.
Yeah. Your guilty
I think
pleasure amenity.
Guilty pleasure amenity. A berry flavored popcorn that we give to guests.
Oh, really? Okay. Anupam?
Mine's not guilty, actually. It's normal. I can't pretend to have guilty one, but most of our properties have balconies, you know. Sitting in the balcony, putting a leg up and watching the mountain is something that I really love. You go to Kodai Lake, you can put your leg up and watch the lake. It's beautiful. It's soul touching, and there's a huge connect that you get. That's what I love. I don't see many people doing that actually in the amongst our guests. They tend to go out. I tend to. Yeah, you know, there are quite a few of our resorts have balconies. You can actually put your leg up and watch the hills, mountains. You can watch the lake. I love doing that, even during peak winter. That's what I call it.
That's beautiful. Okay, I think this question is also equally important, that what do you think is going to dominate the leisure travel from a consumer experience point of view in the coming 5 years? So, Vibhas?
So I just wanted to comment on the experienced traveler. We hosted 3 Mahakumbhs, twice in Prayagraj and Haridwar, and we lost money 3 times. 2001, 2010, 2013. We ran a Chardham business for 20 years, didn't make much money at all. And you saw what happened recently. And I don't know what is the catalyst of this other than what you keep hearing, the consumption story, the consumer economy, GDP growth. So I think the Indian leisure traveler knows what he wants or she wants. They have had the exposure in India and overseas. They are far more demanding if they're willing to pay that. And if you don't offer something authentic and hyper-local, I think they'll just choose a branded hotel. So for people like us who want to stay in business, we have to be authentic and hyper-local or as local as possible. And brands, of course, have that certain edge for attracting the same type of traveler.
What do you think, Suhail, your top 5 or top 3 dominating trends in future, which you see from a leisure traveler perspective?
Yeah, so as I think Mr. Shridhar touched on it a little bit, I think the frequency of travel for leisure properties, that's the increase of that has been the biggest change that has happened. And the other aspect from an India perspective is, Make My Trip touched on it a bit, they're currently selling about 1,900 different distinct destinations in India right now. I see that number doubling in the next 5 years. Yeah. I see us having more than 4,000 distinct destinations for sale in India, and that will be driven through the leisure segment because connectivity across the country is improving in leaps and bounds. So you're going to find properties cropping up into places that haven't been listed on any map. We ourselves are doing almost 2 a year right now, where we are having to go to the OTAs and create destinations in their systems. So I think that is going to be the biggest change.
I think for the leisure travelers, I would say that today the social media is playing an important role. That Instagram and social media has become our virtual tour and guide. So more and people are looking at that, and they wanted to go there when they look at those reels and all those. So there are many options, as he rightly said. There are more destinations rather than the orthodox travel locations like Goa and Shimla and Manali and all those. people are looking at much beyond that. So I think social media will play a role, and the trend is going to increase in the future.
I think the key for us is going to be, especially in the luxury segment, increasingly people are demanding unique experiences. How can you distinguish yourself very, very clearly from the competition? What is it that you are doing which the others are not? So that is something that we will have to constantly work on. And one of the trends that I see for the future is, like someone mentioned, increasing frequency of travel. So that's going to be, something that we'll have to gear up to cater to.
Do you think social media is going to play a huge
Of
role
course,
in
absolutely.
future more than, let's say, other ways of marketing?
It already is. Yeah. It already is. So, I mean, it's helping people become more aspirational. The Instagrammable points in the hotel that we spoke about earlier, all of these are obviously a result of the social media influence.
Anupam?
4 or 5 key words come to my mind. Flexibility will be the norm, not a USP. So that's point. Point number 2, sustainability is going to be the norm, not a choice. 3 is going to be, we are talking about experiences now. I think the overarching theme is going to be discoveries. I go to Ranthambore, I know tigers exist. I know there's a fort. What are you helping me discover there? Right? So discoveries are going to be very, very anthropological. It's going to happen. I believe it's going to be there. Last but not the least, I think digital enablement will take a slightly more DIY, self-enabled kind of digital experiences, okay, where you're not provided one, but you can create one. These are the 4 overarching themes as I see them. And I do not know what the 5th or 6th is going to be, but I think the 5th or the 6th one will be an offshoot of the first 4 things that I mentioned just now.
So, I mean, if I can just sum it up, for leisure experiences, immersive experiences, and, product itself is always going to be an attraction, but how we acquire the customer is evolution, what the industry is right now going through, whether it's utilizing the technology, social media, digital platform, and our traditional way of doing the marketing. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I had a lovely session here, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deepika, for moderating the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.